when you're looking for something new and different to do, or when you want to play quietly by yourself, or with a few close friends. Crafts are easy to make, too. The Good Housekeeping Children's Learning Series will show you how. Hi, my name is Cindy Piccoli, and I'm here today with my two good friends, Michael and Patty. They visit me often because there's always something special happening at my house. You see, I love to make different kinds of crafts, and I like to teach them to my friends.
Making crafts is fun with Cindy, and they're nice to look at too.
Yes, they are. So why don't you follow along as we make these simple and enjoyable crafts? Just watch or work along with us if you wish. You'll have a good time and you'll learn to make new things. Your finished crafts will make wonderful gifts for family and friends. And they'll also be things that you can keep for yourself. Remember to ask an adult to help you gather materials and work through the craft. Clear a work area. If the craft is going to be messy, it's a good idea to cover the table and the floor around it with paper. Be sure to wear old clothes or an apron in case you spill any paint, glue, or dye.
Be sure to keep your craft area neat and remember to clean up as you go along.
That's right. So let's begin an adventure into the world of crafts and making things. The first part of our adventure is finding the proper craft material. You can find them anywhere, whether that means rummaging under your bed for treasures you saved or taking a field trip outdoors. Many craft materials come from nature, in your backyard or by a lake, at the seashore or in the woods. And the first craft that we're going to make together is stone paperweight. Stones come in all shapes and sizes and colors. For our paperweights, we collected smooth stones from the beach. But these types of stones can be found almost everywhere, by a lake, near a river, or even in the woods, and they make great paperweights, especially when you decorate them yourself. These are the materials you'll need to make stone paperweights. You'll need some large, smooth stones, poster paint, and a paintbrush, waxed paper, liquid white glue, and a paper cup. Now that we have all our materials together, let's begin. First, wash and dry a large, smooth stone. We have a stone here that's already been washed. Next, using any color poster paint, paint the entire stone one color. Let the paint dry for about 15 minutes. If the paint hasn't covered the entire stone completely, you might want to apply a second coat. If you wish, you can leave the stone its natural color. Remember, when you're working with paint, always remember to cover the table and floor around it with lots of paper. The paper keeps spills off the furniture and makes cleaning up just a snap. Now, choose a design, any type you like, and paint it on the stone using your favorite colors. There are hundreds of pretty designs to choose from. You might want to try a red heart, or a purple flower, or even your initials. Michael's painted a green turtle on his. Let your painted stones dry on a piece of wax paper. This should take about 15 to 30 minutes. Once the paint is completely dry, pour liquid white glue into a paper cup and very carefully brush a thin coating of glue over the stone. Be gentle. You don't want to smudge all your hard work. The glue will take about 1 to 2 hours to dry. Be sure it's completely dry before you pick up the paperweight. And there you are, some very pretty stone paperweights. Patty and Michael are planning to give them as presents to their family. I'd like to keep at least one for myself. Patty and Michael are such helpful friends. When we took a trip to the beach to collect stones, they remembered to collect many other beautiful objects. You know how the shells and driftwood you collect often end up in drawers or in boxes? Well, why not put your treasures on display for everyone to see? decided to do just that and came up with a beautiful way to display Patty and Michael's shell collection, a shell collage. The shell collage can be made with anything from the sea, shells of all types, driftwood or coral, plus a piece of plywood or masonite. We're using one that measures 18 by 24 inches and some white glue. You'll also need a paper cup and a paintbrush. First, you start with a piece of masonite or plywood and your collection of shells. If you like, you can ask an adult to help you paint the wood white. And you might want to apply 2 coats, making sure the first coat is completely dry before applying the second. Or you can leave the wood its natural color, but we're going to use the white one. Next, select your favorite ocean souvenirs, shells of all types, driftwood, pieces of coral. They're all possibilities. And if you don't live near the seashore or you don't have any shells handy, you can buy them in most craft stores. Pet shops with aquarium supplies are another good place to find seashells. And it helps to do a design of your collage before you actually start gluing. You can try putting various shells in different places, arranging them with the help of your design. If you like, you can lightly mark the wood with a pencil so you will know where to glue each piece. Or you can simply pick up each shell one at a time, apply the glue, and glue it into place. You can squeeze the glue directly from the bottle, or it might be easier to first pour it in a paper cup. Then use a small paintbrush to apply it. So pick up your first shell and apply a thick coating of glue to whichever side of the shell you don't want to see. Now press the shell gently onto the wood in the exact place you want to see it. Continuing gluing shells, driftwood, and coral onto the wood until you've completed your design. Remember that it takes about 1 to 2 hours for the white glue to dry completely. Be sure to wait. Now your collage is done. Isn't this beautiful? You can use your shell collage to decorate your bedroom wall, the family room, or you can give it to a friend.
A nice part about making crafts is when you work on them with someone else and giving them to friends.
As you can see, we drink a lot of milk, and you probably do too. But what happens to the cartons once they're empty? Well, instead of throwing them away, why not make them into something new? Recycling, that is using something more than once, is a nice way to treat our environment. And crafts recycle lots of different items. Why don't you follow along with us as we go through the steps to make our own milk carton village? In order to make this milk carton village, you need any size milk, cream, or half and half carton, some colored construction paper, scissors, masking tape, paper paste, and crayons or felt-tipped markers. Milk cartons make a great beginning for many types of buildings. But before you begin, be sure to wash and dry them thoroughly. This can best be done by opening up the top of the milk carton completely, washing it well, and then leaving it to dry. You may need an adult to help you with this next step. Once the carton is cleaned, cut out along the fold of the triangle on each side of the top of the carton. Then using the masking tape, tape the top to the size of the triangle. The carton already looks more like a house, and you've just begun. Next, cut out a sheet of construction paper as tall as the carton. You can use any color paper you wish. Apply paste to all sides of the carton. Wrap the paper all the way around the carton, overlap it, and paste it securely. Now trim the top of the construction paper so you can see the top of the milk carton, just like this. Are you building a house With windows and doors? Does it have flowers, front steps, or are you making a grocery store with fruit and vegetables in the windows? To decorate your building, draw the shapes you'll need on construction paper. Then cut them out and paste them where they belong with paper paste. If you prefer, you can use crayons or felt tip markers to add details like windows and curtains and doorknobs. And if you need front stairs, fold a piece of construction paper back and forth until it's pleated, like an accordion. Then paste the stairs underneath the front door. No matter what kind of building you're making, it's best to save the roof for last. Take a piece of construction paper and cut it so that it's long enough to overhang the carton on each side when it's folded in half. To decorate it, draw on roof tiles with a felt tip marker or crayon. Apply paste to the edge of the milk carton and place the roof in position. If you're building a house, you may want to make a chimney. Cut a chimney shape out of paper, which is basically a rectangle with a point on the bottom. Decorate it with brick design and fold the pointed end under and paste it to one side of the roof. Now you have a house for your village, and if you keep on going, you can have an entire village just like Michael and Patty do. The town we are building has an ice cream shop and a train station. Use your imagination. What other decorations do we need?
I'm putting in the grass and flowers.
Okay. I'm putting in the tree. Oh, that looks wonderful. And you can do the same. And your milk carton village will keep on growing just like a real city, as long as you continue to drink your milk. If you thought tennis balls were only for tennis, think again. This craft gives tennis balls a double life. One is a sport, another is a decoration. And we're going to make decorated tennis balls. For decorated tennis balls, you will need white tennis balls, white glue, liquid dye in your favorite colors, hot water, a measuring spoon, hands or bowls, a mixing spoon, paper towels, and any decorations you'd like, including sequins, all types of ribbons, and sequin or metallic trim. Now you're ready to begin. To make the decorated tennis balls, first dissolve 2 tablespoons of liquid dye in 4 cups of hot water. You can use mixing bowls or pans to hold the dye solution and a mixing spoon to stir the dye. Next, dip a tennis ball in plain warm water. Have you ever dyed Easter eggs? Dyeing a tennis ball is very much the same. Carefully place the wet tennis ball into the dyed solution. Use a spoon to hold the ball under the liquid and turn it over so it's thoroughly covered with dye. After 3 to 5 minutes, remove the tennis ball and place it on several layers of paper towel. Then blot it with another paper towel. Set it aside to dry. It takes about 12 hours or overnight for the tennis balls to dry. Once they're dry, they're ready to be decorated. You can decorate the dyed tennis balls any way you like. Here's how we decorated ours. We glued metallic trim along the seam. Then we made a hanger by wrapping a 10-inch piece of wire loosely around 3 fingers to form a loop, twisting the ends together and placing the loop on top of the ball. To hold the loop in place, wrap and glue 2 10-inch lengths of ribbon around the ball so it looks like this. You might want to make a bow with your ribbon and glue it in place at the top of the ball. Our tennis balls are finished, and don't they look great? Michael, what are you going to do with the one that you made?
I'm going to hang mine on the Christmas tree. I'm going to hang mine in my window.
And what are you going to do with yours? Since we've already worked with dyes, let's learn another colorful craft. You've probably been drawing and painting ever since you were big enough to hold a crayon. How would you like to learn a new way to paint?
Sounds like fun. Yeah!
We're going to learn to paint with sand. Sand painting is a very different way to paint, and the results are beautiful. We made this sand painting last week, and we're going to make more right now. So come along with us. This is what you'll need to make your sand painting. Paper cups, liquid dye or food coloring, warm water, white vinegar, sand, either from the beach, a sandbox, a craft store, or an aquarium supply store, spoons, paper towels, a pencil, some heavy white drawing paper, liquid white glue, and a paintbrush. Ask an adult to help you dye the sand. Be sure to cover your work area with paper before you begin. To dye the sand, first fill paper cups half full of sand. 1 paper cup for each color. Add enough warm water to each cup to just cover the sand. Now add a tablespoon of food coloring or liquid fabric dye to each cup of sand. Be sure the dye is darker than the color you want the sand to be. The dyed sand gets lighter as it dries. Next, stir the sand, water, and dye with a spoon. Then, let the sand sit in the liquid for about a half an hour. Now, pinch the edge of the paper cup so you can pour out most of the water and dye without spilling the sand. Next, spoon the wet sand from each cup onto separate sheets of wax paper. Spread out the sand and let it dry. It should take about 12 hours or overnight, although on a hot day the sand might dry more quickly. While you're waiting for the sand to dry, you can begin to sketch the designs for your sand painting. You can use any kind of design, an apple, a sailboat, a rainbow, a house. Be sure to keep them fairly simple, at least at first, until you've practiced doing a few paintings. Once your sand is dry and your sketches are complete, pour some liquid glue into a paper cup. Using the paintbrush, fill in one of the design shapes with glue. Be sure to use a very thin layer of glue. Now sprinkle 1 color of dyed and dried sand over the glued area. Try to keep the sand in one area of the paper. Now gently shake off the excess sand onto the paper plate. Do all areas of a single color before starting the next color. Using a different color sand, repeat the gluing and sprinkling sand again. Then, shake off the excess sand again. Continue this process as you glue and sand all the shapes. When you're finished, let the entire painting dry for an hour or two. When you're sure that it's dried thoroughly, gently shake the remaining excess sand off the painting. Now your sand painting is complete. As you can see, you can paint almost anything with sand. Aren't these paintings beautiful?
Yeah!
It's one of our favorite ways to paint. Michael and Patty are always trying to think of nice presents to give their friends and relatives, so they were very pleased to learn our next craft. A decorative pin like this one makes an ideal gift. Making these pins may seem more like cooking than crafts. You use an actual recipe that's something like making cookies. You should have an adult help you with this craft. Here's a list of supplies that you'll need. actually made from a type of dough. You will need 1 cup of cornstarch, 2 cups of baking soda, and 1½ cups of cold water. The kitchen supplies you will need include a measuring cup, a bowl and a pot, a rolling pin or soup can, cookie cutters, a spatula, a wire rack or cookie sheet, and a spoon. For art supplies, you will need a pair of scissors, a watercolor brush, poster paint, and liquid white glue. You will also need pin backing, available at some sewing stores or sewing departments, and yarn or ribbon if you want pendants instead of pins. To cook the mixture, first mix together the cornstarch, the baking soda, and the water in the pan. Now cook the mixture on a range at medium heat for 4 minutes until it's about as thick as mashed potatoes. Remember to stir it the whole time it's cooking. Remove the mixture from the range and place it on a trivet or hot pad, never directly on a countertop or table. Cover it with a damp cloth and allow it to cool for about 1 hour. Once the dough is cooled, ask an adult to show you how to knead it on a sheet of wax paper for 5 minutes. To knead the dough, simply begin folding and pressing it together with your hands. After you've kneaded it for about 5 minutes, cover the ball of dough with a second sheet of wax paper. Now, take the rolling pin or soup can and roll the dough out to about 1/4 of an inch thickness between the 2 sheets of wax paper. Simply take any shaped cookie cutter and cut shapes out of the rolled out dough, just as though you were making cookies. When you've finished, carefully move each shape onto a wire rack or cookie sheet. If you're making pendants or a necklace, simply poke a hole through the top of the shape with the pointed end of the paintbrush. Now let the shapes dry overnight. After the pins are thoroughly dry, paint them with poster paints. You can use any colors, painting one heart red, for example, and another one yellow and green. You can also paint the background one color, let it dry, then paint different colors on top. We painted our bear brown, then painted his eyes and nose and mouth black, and his bow red. Let the paint dry for about an hour. Now you're ready for the last step. To turn your painted cookies into pins, you should now glue the pin backing onto the shapes. Simply put a line of white glue on the back of the pin, then push the backing onto the shape. Let the glue dry for 1 to 2 hours. If you're making a necklace, cut a piece of yarn or ribbon long enough to go around your neck and hang down in the front. String the pendant on the yarn or ribbon, then tie a knot or bow. Place it over your head and you have a necklace. Your jewelry is finished and ready to give away as gifts to family and friends. Aren't these pins handsome? Well, our time is almost up. It's been wonderful learning all these useful and fun crafts, hasn't it?
Yeah!
And now you can make these crafts yourself, adding your own special touches. Try using different materials. For example, you can use pine cones in the shell collage, or you can glue glitter on the decorated tennis balls. That's what's so nice about crafts. They're fun to do, and you can use your imagination. Is there anything else?
Remember to clean up all your supplies and leave your crafts area as clean as you found it.
That's right. Thank you for joining us on our crafts adventure. We hope you had as much fun learning as we did, and that you can make some pretty and useful crafts for yourself and your family and friends. Here are some tips for parents. Craft activities should be fun and rewarding. Some will appeal to your children, and others will not. Focus on the ones they enjoy. Let them choose which craft they would like to make and when. Craft should be a treat. Most of the crafts require at least some adult supervision. Children need help assembling supplies and following directions. If they have trouble with a particular step, do it for them. Be sure, however, that they still feel that they are creating the object. You are only helping. Most of the materials required for these crafts are probably available around your house. The rest can be found in a stationery or variety or art supply store. Once you begin doing crafts with your children, you will probably see many uses for the coffee cans, oatmeal boxes, milk cartons, and shirt cardboard that now end up in your garbage. Save and recycle them with your children's help. The outdoors is a great source of craft materials. The pine cones, shells, stones, feathers, and driftwood that your family brings home can be saved for craft activities. Craft activities teach children concentration, discipline, and a host of manual dexterity skills. But the primary goal of craft activity is enjoyment, and children learn best when they're relaxed and having a good time. It's a fun activity that the entire family can enjoy.